do not adjust your radio dial. You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
It's Wednesday nights. You know what that means. Mark Order Podcast coming to you live from the tri-state area. We've got a really good episode to talk about, especially considering there was a blizzard in play, which I'm sure affected travel as natural disasters tend to do. But you'll notice our own Agent Joe was not with us because he's at the show. So I'm stuck with Ryan. Ryan is stuck with me. We're rocking and rolling though. We're gonna be on the express train tonight. We're gonna just be diving in pretty quick, but I did want to say hi to Ryan, who is watching The West Wing for the first time. So as someone that watched it a bunch of times, very excited about that.
That's why we're on the express train. I need to get back to watching what's going on in President Bartlett's cabinet. Well, not even his cabinet. I do have that comment that his cabinet does not feature hardly at all. But
you're midway through season 2. You've got some good stuff coming up.
But I'm just saying they should be more. That's a whole different discussion. But I'm enjoying the show, and I'm loving it. I hope Joe is safe. I hope he brought his snowshoes.
Yes.
I don't know how, if he was here, I meant to ask him. I don't know how they treat snow in Omaha. Like, you know how like in like Binghamton where Excite is and all that, like snow is nothing there. So like they just continue with their lives.
It's bikini weather what they got in Nebraska tonight.
So I'm just wondering if that's the case. So like, yes, it's blizzard conditions, but to them they're fine, or is it like, no, this is not fun?
Yeah, I know. When I lived and worked in New York, our headquarters was in Austin, and my boss, who had been a lifelong New Yorker, when he moved there, was like, it is comical what they call a snowstorm. Like they just literally like a half an inch of snow. They're like, oh my God, break out the plow, shut down the school. So I'm guessing Omaha's probably somewhere in between. They're probably not like, this is our lifestyle, but they're certainly not strangers to it, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just curious because I want to know if he's got those like snow. What are they, like the snow skis on right now?
Oh yeah, trudging through the parking lot. Well, we're going to talk about this episode of Dynamite, Ryan. I was pleasantly surprised because I was like, it'll be fun in ring, but who knows what we're going to get because of the weather. But when your roster is this, a thrown together show that's in ring focused, ain't a bad way to go. And we did get some nice follow-up. We are getting a really nicely paced build into Dynasty. I had a lot of fun watching tonight's episode. I'm all over the fun scale tonight, Ryan. Like I've got hardly any. This trash is not for me. But I thought this was a really strong episode considering what they were probably up against, and it was very ring focused. This almost felt like ROH with how little like backstage there was. But this is another situation where I think the pacing into Dynasty is really solid, and I wonder if we just had to get through that first year of going from 4 to 10 pay-per-views very quickly to get a more even-keeled idea of what weekly television is going to look like. I feel like that didn't get enough credit in the AEW is so off-base conversation because they had a great run in the beginning of last year. They just fell off very hard post All Out, I think. So I think maybe this rhythm is letting them know kind of like what to leave open for TV as far as TV blow-offs, what to feature on pay-per-views. Because I feel like Dynasty, we're already building towards some really great stuff. We know Mox and Swerve. We find out today what the triple threat is going to be with Kenny. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And we have our women's world title match already too. So some nice turnaround between pay-per-views. What were your thoughts on the episode overall? And how are you feeling with Dynasty being kind of around the corner in a couple weeks?
So it's amazing because I think this might be, for many reasons, a quicker show, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that almost the entire show was in ring. Yeah. Which, while that is a lot to talk about, also isn't a lot to talk about. Like so
many segments on the rundown.
Yes, that's more what it was. It wasn't like match after match after match. It was like one long match, short talk, another long match, short talk. I mean, the heavyweight championship took a half hour. So like you're already talking that the main event was with the overrun, I lost count. So that was a long match too. But
it was, and Mercedes and Billy got time. We're going to talk about that. But this was so ring focused, and it opened with the 4-pack, so you knew that was going to have some legs on it. But you're right. Yeah, part of this being a shorter episode is probably to do with the fact that there's only so much to say about certain aspects of this. But as always, please chat along with us in the chat. We see Kylie, we see Pieces, we see Scott George, Big G, Lord Kev, Taylor Cannon, Jesse Ozog. Good people. All good people hanging out with us today. But let's get into it. We're even not doing the commercial break. So we'll tell you off the bat, leave a thumbs up on this video. If you haven't subscribed, what are you even doing? Subscribe along to our channel. And we'll tell you to check out the other show on the Shining Wizards Network. There's a lot of shows, and it's not just wrestling. There's horror movies, there's metal music, there's all sorts of stuff on the Shining Wizards Network. So go check those out. There's plenty of other wrestling takes that you can get too. Of course, our flagship show here, the Shining Wizards podcast. They have such good interviews. They had a really good one with, oh my gosh, what's his name? Holy shit, what's his name, Ryan? He was released from AEW Creative. Jimmy something. Isn't it Jimmy?
Jimmy Jacobs?
Jimmy Jacobs. Thank you. They had Jimmy Jacobs on recently. I was like, Jimmy, not Lloyd. That's a GCW guy. What the hell's his last name? Jimmy Jacobs, a legend that I should remember. But let's dive in. But do please support and check out all the shows on the Shining Wizards Network. We normally have a very lengthy commercial break, but we are expediting tonight's show. So we are live from, I made this joke and I was very proud of it, Ryan, and I feel like you're going to like it too. I feel like when Ricochet is in Omaha, it's Omaha. Like, even as a pun, even if you are like, puns are cringy, I feel like that's a good one.
I love a good pun. I actually very much appreciate it, but to me, a good pun by the pun receiver gets a clap.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm just saying, some people gave me an eye roll, and I was like, no, that's a good one.
I mean, you gave me an eye roll earlier when we were talking about the tour bus, and I called it a bore bus.
You did. But then somebody made the chlorophyll sounds like borophyll. Joke. 10 grand to tour a bus. It's not great, guys. Not great, but let's dive into this episode of Dynamite. We start off with in-ring, which made me very happy. I love when we start with in-ring. Orange Cassidy versus Speedball Mike Bailey versus Ricochet versus Mark Davis. I felt like whoever produced this match did a killer job because everybody had a chance to shine. And I'm not normally a double pin gal, but this one was pretty crafty. I'm not going to lie. This was pretty good. And ultimately, we have Ricochet and Speedball both advancing to set up a triple threat with Kenny Omega. I kind of like this because Ricochet is like hot right now, right? We don't want him losing. You certainly don't want Speedball Mike Bailey losing as he's just getting his feet established here. Kicking feet though, holy shit, he's shining bright
kicker in the match.
To unreal striking, like unreal striking. But he's very good at making something that's supposed to be fake look very, very real. Like he's excellent at that exact thing. And he is super over with the crowd already. So a lot of fun stuff in here. I love that Mark Davis got a chance to shine. You knew that he wasn't going to be moving on, but he looked really good in this. Same with Orange Cassidy. Love Ricochet taking a break for a lot of this match and then just coming back in when it was opportunistic, joining commentary from Omaha. He should have made that joke. He should know. He should know, but a very dramatic decision by Bryce, like a very, very dramatic reveal by Bryce and Justin Roberts, who say they both got the pin on Mark Davis at the same time. It's a tie because Mike Bailey has this flipping senton knee drop onto Davis, huge heel kicks to Davis, and he goes for the backslide, but Ricochet comes over and covers Davis with his feet on the ropes. Cheater, pumpkin eater. You mentioned the long match times. This got 18 minutes. It did not feel 18 minutes long in the way that it was very fast paced, but I'm always impressed when 4-packs give people room to shine without it feeling like two people are always playing possum. Like, I feel like those are hard to accomplish, but I felt like everybody looked really good in this. I love that Mark Davis, like Kyle Fletcher is so separating from the pack, but he looked really good on Collision. He looked good here. I'm glad that he's not lost in the shuffle. I was, of course, worried about that, as I think a lot of people were. But what did you think of all of this opening match? 18 minutes? I thought it was great.
So I'm actually shocked it was 18 minutes for the same reason you were. I just didn't see it as that long of a match. Like it
was quick. It was quick for a
Yeah.
4-pack too. Yeah, like moving.
So I have a bunch of thoughts. I'll try to go through them quickly. One, to agree with you on this had a good feel of like, you're right. Sometimes these multi-men matches, two guys playing possum gets a little boring. You're like, but in this match, they had a decent way, which is the only real person playing possum was Ricochet in his heel move of like, I just won't be in the match, which fit his character. Whereas like the rest of the match was basically, it felt like, and maybe I'm just remembering it wrong in my brain because this is just what I felt it was like. It felt like Orange Cassidy and Speedball just trying to beat up Mark Davis. And then each taking turns at that, basically. And then every now and again, they would succeed in getting him out of the ring. They'd go at it, and then Ricochet would screw it all up. But it had a pace of like, Ricochet was the only one buying time. The other two were doing their best to take down a guy with a apparently very large ass, from what commentary kept saying. I believe Excalibur called Taz a size queen.
Yes.
But I think he was referring to talking about Mark's ass, which I hate to, but I don't
Great
believe
stuff.
that's what a size queen is. Orange Cassidy doing Speedball's kicks had me rolling. That was just because he got air. Like,
yeah,
he somehow made getting air look slow. Like it was very good. I think it was Excalibur, but I couldn't remember. It could have been Taz. That said on commentary, he did something very good for Speedball on commentary. He was kicking Ricochet, and they said, I don't care about the size of a man. When he has that kind of torque on a kick, it's gonna hurt. And I think that's besides piping up his legitimate martial arts background, that's a very good way to sell the character of like, yes, it's a similar issue actually Orange Cassidy sometimes runs into. Like, they're not the biggest guys, but find out reasons why they're effective. Orange Cassidy is because he's athletic, but he's super tough. Like, he could just take a beating, and he plays the mental game. So he basically waits you out. Whereas Speedball is, yes, he's on the smaller side, but his kicks and his hits are just so devastating because he knows how to kick and he knows how to twerk, and not twerk.
He knows how to twerk.
Yeah, he knows how to twerk. He knows how to twerk, but he knows it. No, Mark Davis. Yes, I meant to say torque, but he's got the torque, and he uses his hips, which not a lot of guys do. So I just really appreciated that. I was shocked actually by the ending. I had predicted, and I was all up in I really thought I was going to be right, that after we saw Orange Cassidy versus Kenny to face Takeshita, I swore we were getting Orange Cassidy versus Kenny for the belt at some point. Like, I thought that was what they were like. That was going to be a feud. I don't know why. And I really thought this was the setup. So I was legitimately shocked. I'm okay. It was very interesting. I mean, I would have been fine if Speedball lost here, because as long as he doesn't take the pin, it's a 4-way. It's an easy way to give a guy a loss without giving him a loss.
Sure.
But to allow him, Ricochet, Ricochet, and Kenny to have the three of them have a like, gee, well, that is just going to be insane.
That's going to be nuts. And we're probably going to be there for it. So hell yeah.
So I might wrestle. They might call me in, make it a 4-way.
You might qualify for something.
They need someone else who's a big man with absolutely no ass to wrestle. And that's me.
I love what you brought up about the fact that like it was Ricochet and his intentionally playing possum. It wasn't like he conveniently got knocked out for so much of the match, or he was being a chicken shit. He was just being a little shit. Like not a chicken shit, but just like picking his opportunities on where to roll in. And what I really like about that was you did have two other people that are very fast moving, very high energy. So it didn't feel like him not participating in the match fucked up the rhythm of it in any way. Like Mark Davis is still your like pacing guy who's gonna do big guy moves and stop the match when things get going crazy. And then the energy that was carried by Speedball and Orange Cassidy, I thought was awesome. And they both did it in different ways. So love our opener. Very much looking forward to that triple threat. That's going to be insane. And I feel like there's this really good response to the criticisms that, one, sometimes they bring people in and don't have anything for them to do, i.e. Brian Keith, right? He was sitting there doing nothing, and now he's on TV, mostly still doing nothing as the bad apple. And the other thing was like the follow through from people from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, right? Like what's next for Ricochet, they had an answer for, and he's very over. To my knowledge, he's a pretty big ratings get as well. So they're going to want that. They're going to want to have follow through. So just nice to see them recognizing those things right away.
We have two cases of that when we talk about the main event, where I feel like they've actually followed through and done something with their people. I also want to point out, I didn't like jump scare, but I literally had like when I heard Ricochet's voice suddenly pop up on, because they didn't show him. He just grabbed it.
He just heard his voice, yeah.
But that was the smartest thing they could have done, because at that point, that's when they established he wasn't being chicken shit. He was just picking his moments.
Yes, which was fun. I thought that was really fun. So some really good stuff and a fun way to open the show as well. I really like that. But more of you joining in the chat. We see the wonderful Greg Cherry, Fernando. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us as we work our way through Dynamite. One of the quick and few backstages was this Hurt Syndicate promo where MVP says he understands that everything is business. It's nothing personal. And if you want a shot at the tag team titles, like, they will hurt you. And he puts all the tag teams on notice. And that was just like a quick reminder, like, hey, we're the tag team champions. This is our presence on the show. We're not doing a whole lot with this segment, but like, here you go. That was something old Dynamites used to do really well that got very lost in the past 2 years or so, I would say, of just these appetizers to keep storylines moving forward that are maybe less than a minute, of just when you're properly rotating your talents, doing stuff like this is great because they don't have to be at TV in a blizzard, but they can still have a presence there. But anything that you want to add, and who do you want to see come next for the Hurt Syndicate?
So it was a nice, easy promo for them. I like the way they're treating them as like, I hate to, and because I love Private Party, but they did them so dirty, because Private Party didn't feel like big deals as champs. The Hurt Syndicate once again feels like the tag team championship is like the thing, you know. I don't know who I want to go against them. Truthfully, there's a lot of activity in the tag division, and I'm really enjoying it. But that being said, no one has. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but no one has quite yet put themselves out there as like, because you have the Undisputed Kingdom. They're both they're a trios, but they're also tag, and at the same point, you have them going against Daniel Garcia. So you have Adam Cole going against Daniel Garcia, so they might just go into tags. You have FTR, though they seem to be going into their own story tonight, which I'm fine with. You have like I'm blanking, but there's been Murder Machines. You have what are they? What's the old house? What's House of Black called now?
Oh, the Hounds of Hell, the Hellhounds.
The Hellhounds. Thank you. I was blanking. So like, you actually have some. Like, it's not that they don't have anyone for the. I feel like they've done a really good job of filling out the division again with some legitimate teams. I just haven't seen, like, the Hellhounds would be fun, but I don't know if I want that yet. I guess that's kind of where that one falls for me. Like,
no, you kind of are like, if we get there, I want them to feel like they could really beat them, and it feels too early in the Hurt Syndicate's race.
You nailed that. That's exactly it. Like, even if I don't think they'll win it, I want to feel like they could. Like that. Yeah. I want to feel like that if Tony woke up on a Saturday morning, was like, we pay per view tonight. You know what? Hellhounds are going to win. Well, he's going to do that maybe if it's the Hurt Syndicate's sixth defense. He's not going to do that if it's their first or their second.
Sure. And on top of that, like, you would also want the Hellhounds getting some tag team wins on television consistently, where we saw, I mean, Buddy, I think, is still injured, but I know that was my face when I remember that too. But like, he had that singles title shot against Okada. Brody had that singles title shot against Okada. So hypothetically, even if they're both healthy, you want them separating from the pack with wins. I understand what you're saying, that like we have the right pieces in place right now in the tag division, but there's nobody that's like separated from the pack that's going on a giant winning streak. So we'll see. We will see, but that's also what feels good about having like more balance in the product right now. It doesn't feel like everything needs to be defended on every pay-per-view, or like they have the space as the Hurt Syndicate to leave room for a team to pick up 3 wins in a row or something. So some good stuff there, but let's move on to what some people are calling Mercedes Moné's best TV match. And I don't have any evidence to disagree with you. I don't know if I fully agree with that. I would have to think harder. But Mercedes Moné versus Billie Starkz was excellent. Mercedes is so locked in right now. Billie did a really, really good job. I'm assuming this is going to set up Athena versus Mercedes at All In, or be a storytelling piece to get there. But Mercedes hits the roll up into the statement maker to make Billie tap out. Couple things I like about that. One, Athena's going to be pissed that she tapped. Like, because that there's a you gave up aspect to that. I love what Taz said on commentary, which was that there's no shame in tapping. Like, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I also feel like the Monet Maker doesn't always look great on opponents that are bigger than Mercedes, and Billie has a pretty sizable height advantage on Mercedes, and I feel like getting her up for a proper Monet Maker would be a little bit trickier. Plus, Billie's one of those people, Charlotte Flair's like this too. She just has a very long frame. Like, she's very long in the torso, and she has very long legs. And so when you put the statement maker on, she looks so much more contorted than some other opponents that I think it looked really, really great. But there were some fun callbacks to NXT TakeOver, like Mercedes' hair was very much the Mercedes or the Sasha Banks TakeOver hair. Like patented Mercedes just sticking you with a leg in the corner and guffawing about it, I feel like was kind of cemented in that NXT run. But I loved this. I felt like Billie got to show out a lot, and Mercedes just seems like, as advertised, you saw what she did at House of Glory with Indy Hartwell. You saw what she did with Anna Jay. There's this really cool thing to her legacy that's filling out right now of all of these incredible international matches, all of these classics with top talent in the industry, and then things like this where she's just giving people the best matches of their career to this point. And that makes me really, really excited. Very excited for the possibilities of what could happen with her and Athena. This was aces to me. I was so delighted. This went 12:50 too. This was a decently long match. Kind of surprised this didn't main event, but I understand the go home angle that we got. But nice to see 2 women's matches on the show. That's for damn sure. Some really good work in here, though. Ryan, what did you think?
I have many thoughts, many feelings, many emotions. One, what was it? That was a. Oh, I thought you snapped.
The floor is yours. Oh no! It was a take it away.
When you were delirious last week, and so you couldn't be on, Joe and I were talking about the Billie Starkz stuff, and Billie's weakness right now is clearly on the mic. Love Billie. Some stuff she does really well. Like, she did the Athena minion in training stuff amazingly, but when she's kind of left that realm, it's been a bit more of a struggle, which means I hate to say it. I actually don't, because in AEW it doesn't matter. She's clearly stronger in comedy than she is in like straight up sounding like an intimidating race, which isn't
backstages aren't the best format for her too, especially live ones. Like, she just, I don't think, feels immediately comfortable. I think those like pre-tapes where you get a couple takes suit her better, and her facial expressions and stuff and in-ring storytelling is really strong. So I agree with you. That's what
I was gonna say. Like, so where her weakness may be on the mic, everything else is made up for it. It's more than made up for it with her in-ring. She is able to tell a story but with her facial expressions, with the pace of the match, with the style, she's very good at what she does. I've yet to see her not be able to play off someone and adjust to the way they wrestle. So she's fantastic. So I just felt like bring that up. Like because I'm not usually critical. So I guess when I'm critical of something, I want to come back and be like, well, here's the positive to it. She may not be the best talker right now, but who cares when she can wrestle like that? Mercedes, it's funny. It's been a year now, right? We're almost at a year. I think this we're right
Just
about when it
past
was
a
a
year,
year.
yeah.
Yeah.
The anniversary of Big Business was a couple days ago.
But she didn't wrestle for like 2 months, right?
Gosh.
I think she wrestled.
Yeah, you're right. It was about 2 months, I think, from when she came
So we're
in.
not quite at a year for when she started wrestling again. And I just remember people criticizing her first couple AEW matches or first couple months in AEW, which I understand. You bring her back, she does nothing. And that's not a knock on her. She was hurt. And then her first couple matches, and to where we are now, being like, her character is top notch. Her matches are consistently some of the best on the card. Like, she's just killing it across the board. So it's just kind of funny. But I do think I like that she needs another. I love that she has a submission. She does need another finisher so that she could do that to taller wrestlers.
Yeah.
She needs to have one. It's okay to have two. I love when wrestlers have two when they do the big one, but
give them 5. Yeah, I like it. Let them
this was
knock you out a few ways.
But this was just really like a really good match, and Mercedes is very good at telling a story in a match. She's very good at what they're trying to tell you about the fight. Like, who's struggling at that moment? Why are they struggling? What's the person going? Like, you just understanding watching her stuff. I just really appreciate that. I am really hoping this sets up, and the chat is agreeing with me. I can tell. Really hoping this sets up Athena versus Mercedes.
I'll say that's what I've heard. So hopefully that pans out, because I'll tell you what, you hear a lot of things. But it would feel very weird to do this to not do that, right? Like, to intentionally go out of your way to include this match, because Billy Starks is on ROH. Right? Like, there's no need to do this match if it's not a stepping stone to her and Athena. So that would track as long as both of them are healthy, of course. And, you look at All In, it's in Texas. I think that's why a lot of people are like, I'm okay with a slow burn to get there. Like, keep the story moving, but like, let's do it in the right location. The thing is, if you do it in Texas, Athena has to win. Like, she has to win. So, which I think is fine. One thing that we haven't seen kind of across the board in AEW is mobility between titles. Like, mid-card and world titles aren't occupied by the same people often. You'll have the same people occupying the same title multiple times, which is kind of funny. You have Jon Moxley, a 4-time champion. You have Tony Storm, a 4-time champion. Neither of them held the title below them, or the men's title below the 8 men's titles below Jon Moxley, right? So it would be cool if, Mercedes ends up dropping the title. Maybe she goes away for a little bit and then she comes back for the world title and challenges and wins. I think you still want to keep her probably pretty protected, but we'll see what happens. Like, it sounds like Camille is maybe not done wrestling based on what Tony Khan had said earlier. So I hate to say it because I don't think it's Camille's fault, but Mercedes seems so much more clicked in since she dropped the Camille stuff. Like, it felt like that was really an obstacle to what she was trying to accomplish as the CEO. I don't know if there are more stooges in her future. We'll find out. But, like, kind of feels like that was a pivot point away from that creative into what she's doing now. And my God, it really, really, since she turned heel, really since she turned proper heel, it's gotten much better. And we get to see stuff like this. But Soupy is joining in the chat. We got more people hanging out with us. So we're going to keep moving our way, making our way through Dynamite.
Making our way downtown, walking fast. Oh, no. I don't remember the words. I just know the
walking fast. Making my way downtown, walking something. The pace is fast and I'm homebound. What is it?
There you go.
Walking.
I have to.
Pace is fast and I'm homebound. My favorite thing about that song is, have you seen the music video where she's just playing the piano through town? It's brilliant.
Oh yeah, because what year did that come out? Hold on, now I gotta find that out.
I don't know. It
That
was like
was
Vanessa Carlton and Michelle
2002.
Branch.
So we were in high school when like you still only had what was on TV. Like you didn't have
Yes.
YouTube yet to like put. So like this was like an MTV favorite, and I would always say when I'd wake up at 4 a.m. or whatever to go row crew, that I turn on MTV because it was either that or Girls Gone Wild commercials. They were about the only two things on. And I can distinctly remember watching 3 videos on MTV at that time. Hers, Nelly's It's Getting Hot in Here, and Maroon 5. This love has taken.
Oh, okay.
So those are the 3. Yeah, VH1 was played it a lot, but for whatever reason, MTV at 4 a.m. played it too.
That's incredible.
Or that or Girls Gone Wild commercials.
Well, the girls had to go wild, Ryan. They couldn't be contained anymore.
It was Comedy Central at 4 a.m. It's burning my brain.
It's just the infomercial, right?
Oh yeah, it wasn't like I was watching anything, but like, oh god, it has music. It would because it was as soon as like the channels flipped over from like
it was like fake tropical music, right? It was like Michael Scott playing his drums.
In Jamaica, they don't have a word for inventory.
Oh man. Well, let's keep working our way through Dynamite. We didn't have a ton of backstages, but the ones we did were quick and effective. We get this Outrunners promo wishing the Omaha Mavericks the best of the men's NCAA tournament. So they had done a fun spot that got picked up by ESPN a few weeks ago where they went in to give them a pep talk and they were like, you got a basketball to play basketball. Like it was just one of those things that was very fun and silly. So they are continuing the crossover here, which is great. And then we have a quick MJF promo, which I also liked. He seems to be very much back on track. But he says fans are placing their bets on who's going to win the world title. Is it Darby Allin? He beat him twice, once with a headlock takeover, and he's probably dead on a mountain somewhere. Will Ospreay, he beat him for the international title. Swerve, he says, look at him, look at me. And Hangman, he needs to learn his place or he will make him pay. MJF just in complete denial that he lost here to Hangman. I kind of love it. Like it feels like the proper amount of heel that lost to a face. Like just absolutely denying it. But he then kind of pivots to talking about the Hurt Syndicate and the offer they made him. And he sees that Jon Moxley has this crew around him and he knows he's going to need a crew around him to equalize them. And I like that because it's MJF taking back the decision of whether or not to hire them rather than last week where it felt like MVP was saying, hey, you actually need us this time, which I liked because MJF doesn't need things from other people. So he says he's going to have his answer next week, but it looks like he is setting his eyes back on the title. I would love to see him in the Owen this year. We've never seen MJF in the Owen yet. So I think that would be really fun, but some good stuff here. Any thoughts on the Outrunners putting over the Omaha Mavericks or this MJF promo?
So the Outrunners thing was genius. I don't know how they were the ones chosen for it, to be quite honest. And I'm not complaining. Are they from Omaha?
I don't know if they're from there, or I know they trained our beloved Allie Cease, Allie Albright. So I don't know if they were from Omaha before, like OVW or any of that stuff, but I think they have a connection to the area. I think Joe had said that previously.
Okay, but it's just they were perfect for it. Like they fit that whole look, especially with what the Omaha team was doing with the garbage cans and all. Like they fit into that whole thing very well. And it was such a smart play by them because look at the coverage you get. Yeah. You know, and finally AEW hypes it up being like featured on all these places. Like, yes, like this is what you should be doing with teams that are funny and over, and like this is the good stuff. This is the stuff they weren't doing. Like early on, and then I think that they should be doing.
Yeah.
So I love that. I mean, I have no real comment. I think it'd be cool if Omaha wins, but they won't. I'm not a big college basketball guy, so I actually don't know much what I'm talking about there.
No, I think it was a surprise they even got into the tournament. So I think you're
Yeah.
probably right.
But then the MJF stuff is interesting because one, he wasn't quite as orange this week, but he's still orange.
Correct.
And he does something to his lips too, to make sure that they stand out as not orange.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty important.
Yeah. I liked how, like you said, that he just won't accept the Hangman thing at all. And then I guess what I'm appreciating is they are trying to develop him in a very natural way. Hangman was the start of it with a lot more anger and a lot more, venom than we'd seen from MJF before. This is another way of like his cockiness is fading, but not to make him a babyface, but to make him a different kind of heel. Because typically when his cockiness has faded in the past, it's to be a babyface. Now this time it's like, no, I'm going to still be someone you hate. I really appreciate that because his character needs to develop. He's so good. Having him just run the same programs is no fun. So like, it's great when they get something out.
He's way more justified this time around, and I don't need all of my heels to be justified. But I do feel like we had gone to the cheap heat, less cheap heat, sincere promo well with MJF too many times of like picking on the audience, making fun of the appearance, and then digging into the heart of stuff. For them to switch up that formula and MJF just actually want to fucking fight someone and get into the heart of stuff immediately, I think was really refreshing. So fully agree with you on that.
Yeah, I also appreciate that. And I'm not blaming him. I mean, he's got to do what was right for his career, which was taking TV roles and acting roles. But I appreciate that they actually have him for some time now so that he's not like a feud gone. Like he's here.
Yeah. I think that was part of why the MJF Garcia stuff got wonky because Garcia hadn't resigned yet and MJF was leaving again. So there was like all these intermittent things. And before he took those movie roles, he also had gotten injured right at the end of his title reign. So he just wasn't around for a ton of 2024. So it is nice to have him on TV with consistency again. That is some good stuff. And I think that Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out pretty soon.
Oh, is he in Happy Gilmore too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kind of fits.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer for it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's the shithead son in there. But let's keep rocking and rolling. Thank you to everybody chatting along with us. Maria, we see you over there. Jesse Ozag, of course, sticking with us as we move through things. But we get our AEW World title fight, which was the tale of two halves, because halfway through this, I was like, oh my God, go home. And right about then is when it picked way up. This was 21 minutes long. And the first half was boring as fuck. And then it got real violent. And then people started coming in and equalizing each other. Like, it got wild. But it was, I should never be in a place, A, where I'm bored by the World Championship, B, where I'm bored by Jon Moxley, or C, where I'm like, oh, another concerto. Big deal. Like, part of the problem with this, like, ultra-violent faction is that the ultra-violence, when you do it over and over again, you start to get immune to it. So you have to keep upping it. And then we get Spike the Bat going into Jon Moxley's flesh, like, for real. Wheeler going in there to try and pull it out of Moxley's back. A referee saying, I got this kid for real. And then run-in shenanigan after run-in shenanigan after run-in shenanigan. Mind it less here for a few reasons. One, it was a street fight. So, like, it would be weird if you didn't. Like, this is the circumstance you should be doing it under. And two, I also liked that Jon Moxley thought, I'm in the ring with a veteran this time. He has friends. He's brought those friends in before. I'm going to need other people to help out outside of the people that are going to come in and run off the obvious ones, right? Like, he had to do extra wrestling math because he knew that the numbers game was going to be equalized. Marina Shafir, I'm over it. Fucking fight somebody, please. Let's do this Marina and Willow match already. Like, let's get going. I'm so sick of seeing Marina Shafir beat people up and never wrestle. Like, I got to see her wrestle. But Willow delivering a pounce and a cardigan. Like, is there anything more wholesome than that? Absolutely love it. Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne come out. Cope can fight off Sabian, but the Wayne's World from Nick puts him out, and Moxley puts Cope to sleep again. This makes me hate the booking of the tag match because this is the second time we've seen Adam Copeland get choked out, and Mox retains. But there are things that I liked better about this. And then post-match, we see Dax Harwood kind of leaving FT rated R, rated FTR, R rated FT. But Cash Wheeler doesn't follow him. So I don't know what we're going to get out of that, but I feel like an FTR heel turn is actually very overdue. Very overdue. So what were your thoughts on this very long street fight?
Yeah, so before we get to the fight, has FTR been heel?
Yes. They were heel.
But very briefly, right? They were healed. They were on MJF's team, weren't they?
When they were in the Pinnacle. They were heel against, like, Proud and Powerful. They kind of came in heel, which was fun. And then they were heel another time, I think, for one of their...
I have short memory when it comes to that stuff. That was like a heel face weirdness.
That was, but they had both turned by the time they faced each other the third time, I think.
Yeah, again, my memory's not that great. And they've been faced for so long now that that's all I think about.
Literally years at this point, yeah.
So I'm with you. It's time for them to turn heel again, and this is a smart way to do it. I don't even know where to start here. I don't mind this. I actually don't mind this as a Dynamite match. Like, I actually don't mind this match, and I like it on Dynamite. The problem is that it follows up having been on a pay-per-view. So it's like, that's where this I can't get the one out of my head. Like, if this had been the only match they had, I would have been okay with it. I would have been highly enjoyable.
This is the third time we're seeing Adam Copeland lose to Jon Moxley, and the second time we're seeing him get choked out.
Yeah.
Like, it's tedious. I would be stunned if Swerve for real shattering his eardrum didn't have something to do with this. I would be shocked if the build to Dynasty was supposed to look different, but Swerve isn't cleared yet or whatever. Would not surprise me at all.
I legitimately at one point during this match though laughed to myself because, like, they started doing all those run-ins, and I'm like, I feel like they know the complaints they're getting, and now they're doing it just to spite us.
I just don't think they know what else to do. If you're going to do a street fight, there's no justification for them not to come in. You know what I mean?
But it was so heavy.
Yeah.
Like, it was, not only do you have all of the Death Riders, you then have Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian, what the fuck is going on with Nick Wayne then? Because he had just been kind of going at Christian, so like you have that whole thing.
Unless they're having the balls to do what they should have done this whole time, of actually split the roster into heels and faces. Like, unless Dax Harwood agrees with these guys and Cash Wheeler doesn't, and Darby is like the chosen child to go beat him, and everybody fights each other off. But I mean, that is absolutely just the same thing as the family rules from last year's WrestleMania. Like, it just is at that point.
So I don't think Cash is gonna. I think FTR stays together.
I think so too.
But I think there's gonna be a moment of, like, Cash has to make a choice, and of course he just goes with Dax. Like, I think that's the natural thing there. But the match itself, again, I don't. Every now, like, a one-off overbooked nonsense doesn't bother me, but this is just consistent now with this, and I'm like,
it's the bloodline, but more boring somehow.
Yeah, that's 100%. It's like I'm just waiting for the interference, and I don't like that.
I agree.
I have to ask, and I'm not being sorry. So the bat with nails that went into Mox's back, which was too much for me.
Yeah.
What are they made out of? There's no way they're not metal, right?
I don't know, but it definitely actually penetrated his skin. I don't think they're actually nails.
Yeah, like
because they're
my
too
whole thing
big.
is like, yeah. Well, you can get giant nails, but like, if you suplex someone onto a bed of actual, like a thing of actual nails like that, they're not evenly distributed. So it's not like an acupuncture thing where like you can lay on it and the even distribution keeps them from puncturing you. Like, I'm pretty sure that they would go with the weight of John Moxley, like beyond what happened to him. What happened? Like, they would really go in. So I'm just curious what they now Pieces is saying they're dulled down. God damn.
I mean, they were in his back. It was fucked
Oh yeah.
it's
oh god, that was too much for me. And it was too much for me because they started pulling when they started pulling.
I was surprised that was at 10 o'clock. Sorry, did I lag?
You did for a second. I was surprised that they were allowed to do it. Like,
yeah, I was particularly surprised it was on free TV at 10 o'clock that they chose to do that spot. I thought for sure that feels like a grotesque pay-per-view spot to do.
Though I will say, as soon as Yuta couldn't pull it out, they cut that camera quick.
Yes, they did. Yes,
so
they did.
I think it's one thing. So Kevin from the Shining Wizards is in here saying dull knives can still cut. These are deaf filed nails of some sort. Well, that's my thing. Like, they could still cut. I don't know why you'd use any real nail, because like just the risk of that is so high. But I think the thought was it would get. I don't know if they actually thought it would get stuck in his back. To be first of all, like, I think that might have been a surprise. And then I think.
I mean, you can't test that spot out. You know what I mean?
No. And then I think they thought they'd be able to just pull it. It wouldn't be a big deal. When it got stuck, you could see them cut the camera, because at that point it became visually disturbed. So like, I will say they clearly did not go the way they thought.
Or it did and didn't, right? Or like the exit wasn't as good. But the fact that Wheeler jumped out of there before it was fully out of his back tells you everything you need to know, I think. But shout out to Kevin for joining. He also was in the Fightful chat earlier, and I think heard Sean go off on some Tate Brothers apologist. So hope he enjoyed that rant. But we are moving along. Let's dive into what's next here, which is this Bandito Learning Tree feud extension. This angle has been good. Chris Jericho can't wrestle anymore, and I'm tired of it. But they're doing the best with what they've got. My thing is, I just don't want to see this take until the next ROH pay-per-view. They do 4 a year. It would take way too long. No, thank you. But a good promo from Bandito here, who had his brother's mask, his brother being Gravity, stolen from Jericho, and they ambushed him last time. But he says that he's going after Jericho because he, quite frankly, made his entire family cry on television, and that Jericho has to pay for it. So come to Collision this Sunday and bring his brother's mask. This would be so much better if Jericho didn't previously pin him clean as a sheet in the ring on a Collision as well. Like, I'm hoping we get a title change here, but we saw Chris Jericho, who can't wrestle anymore, pin Bandito into the ring. So not great, but they're doing a good job building the story. I wish luchadors were able to tell a story other than my family and my mask. Like, it feels very.
What about your family's mask?
Same deal, same thing. But it feels very much like Americanized lucha presentation of wrestling with that. But do you have any interest in this? I'm interested if Bandito wins and Chris Jericho goes away for a long time.
A couple things here. I did like Jericho holding Gravity's mask. I just thought it was a cool visual. That was very well done. That was very well done. And Gravity's mask, of all masks, because of just how it looks, it pulled off that that like Bandito's. I don't know if it would hold up the same because he's got such a cool mask, but it looks different. Like you'd have to scrunch up the bandana part of it.
Yeah, it's like angular. It doesn't look
Yeah.
like a typical lucha mask. It's pretty cool.
I love his mask, but I did not expect his voice. I know I've heard him talk before, and I guess I just forgot what he sounded like. And like,
yeah, he doesn't talk a lot.
No, it just wasn't what I expected. Not bad. That's not a criticism. It was just like, that was just so shocking to me to be like, wait, really? Like that's, but I'm with you. Like
maybe they learned that Alex Abrahantes doesn't have to talk for everybody who's Hispanic.
No, I don't mind that Alex goes out with them and is like their manager, but yeah, he doesn't have to talk for them. Let them talk. If they can, let them. Though I did think the Penta says stuff was funny. So I do appreciate what they were doing, but they could have played that both ways. You could have done like, sure. I think it would have been funny when Penta was around to be like, let Penta cut a promo, and then all of a sudden he says something in Spanish and Alex has to translate. And it's always something insulting. So that like, that's the joke. Like Alex gets to say the insulting line. But anyway, I'm with you. Don't drag this out to the next pay-per-view. I do like that they're giving Bandito time though on TV because he's awesome.
He is awesome. It would be even cooler if they put him on ROH. But, like anything but putting a title match on Ring of Honor streaming is. We'll do it on a Sunday Collision. Like ridiculous.
What is Ring of Honor?
The hell if I know. Kevin from the Shining Wizards was in here before. They had a whole conversation about what's the bigger fumble, AEW ROH or WWE ECW, and you could convince me either way.
So I actually, I have an opinion on this. I'm going to give it quickly, and then we can go on. I don't want to drag this out, but I'm going to say, and not for bias, and I'm going to have WWE ECW, and for one reason only, ECW was bigger than ROH.
That's true, and I would also say that ROH's building of Athena is more productive than anything WWE ECW did. Like it still has given us the FTR and Briscoes trilogy, and it's still given us this Athena run. And I don't think there's anything in WWE ECW that I'm like, that might be the best whatever I've seen, right? That might be the best women's title run I've ever seen. That might be the best tag match I've ever seen. That might be the best tag trilogy I've ever seen. There's nothing in the WWE ECW catalog that constitutes that, but they're both pretty abysmal.
They're like this is
and it's
picking,
unfair to the talent.
Yeah, this is picking what shitty meal do you want to eat. Like neither one of them's good, but like I'm just saying, I think ECW had so much more behind it in terms of fan feeling.
Oh yeah, agreed. Well, we give Will Ospreay and AR Fox for no reason other than the fact that they're super fun, and that there was a blizzard, another one. And they need to put matches on the show. What'd you say?
There doesn't need to be another reason other than they're fun.
No, there really doesn't. This was so much fun. Ospreay still selling the effects of the steel cage match. I thought he did that very well. I know people are like, he doesn't sell anything. And I'm like, no, he does. He sold a lot of stuff. He sold being beat up a lot from that steel cage from the Spanish Fly spot. So this was just super fun. I love that AR Fox got a rep here. And if you saw Will Ospreay's Twitter earlier in the day, it said like, I'm in Nebraska, put me in, coach. Like he was like, I just want to wrestle. I'm Will Ospreay. So when you have someone that's in the conversation of best wrestler in the world, and he's in almost inarguably a top 3 wrestler in the world, I would say. And he's as over as he is, and he's a face. You put him out there if you have him out there in a blizzard. Like, that's what you do. You do exactly this. This was super fun. AR Fox is great. Like, he's a unique combination of attributes, but he was obviously going to take the loss here to the Hidden Blade. He did get that low main pain in for the near fall. There was a 299 that came right before this, but the 450 misses, and then Will Ospreay wins. This was super fun. This was one of the shorter matches on the card, but I had a great time with it. What did you think?
AR Fox is a lot. He just wrestles differently. Like he delivers
does.
moves in a unique way. It was things I always said, like, there's certain wrestlers who just deliver moves in a way that I'm like, that's different than what I see other people doing. Like, and it's not like Sammy Guevara would do that, which is always why I said let him wrestle. And I've enjoyed what they have let him do in ROH, where it's like, just let him go out and wrestle. Because guys who can deliver things uniquely will get your attention. And yeah, Will Ospreay is just I'm still shocked at how over he is sometimes. Like, and it's not that he doesn't deserve it, and it's not that he shouldn't be at that level, but it's almost like, I guess what I'm saying is, he came in with all this hype from Japan. It would have been so easy for him to not be that over.
Sure, to not live up to it, absolutely.
And somehow he is. And somehow they've nailed booking him.
Yes. Which is weird because he took a lot of losses in 2024. I think he needs to have a very protected rest of this year. But if you actually look at his win-loss record, he, in my opinion, took too many L's, but nobody gave a shit because he was just putting on all these insane matches.
He had a couple big wins, thankfully, that leveled that out.
Yes.
But yeah, but I mean, you look at him and you look at like an Okada, and how much better Ospreay's been booked than Okada, and how much more over in AEW Ospreay is than Okada because of that. Like, he's incredible, and the match was a lot of fun. I don't have anything specific because, like you said, I'm okay. I am definitely one of these people that's okay that you could just throw in a really fun match on a TV. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, especially when one guy should be a guy that's just picking up wins, and that's Will Ospreay right now, right?
And when it's good, when they're two good wrestlers, at worst, the guy who's already over is going to be more over.
Yeah.
But at best, you might get the guy who's not as over yet, some fans he didn't have before.
Yeah, and as long as you don't do that with a bunch of matches, I'm with you. I'm the same way. But let's move along here. It's really good stuff. This was a solid episode considering how restricted I'm sure it was by travel. But we get Hangman, who says that he is going to join the Owen Hart tournament and become the next world champion. He also says that he would never let Shane Strickland hold gold in AEW again, but the focus is on him now after Revolution. So Paige seems very, very conflicted. So I'm intrigued to see what we get out of that relationship because that seems to be the, I think, final piece of his redemption arc. And we also get Adam Cole announcement that he'll be competing against Danny Garcia. Queen Aminata and Julia Hart will have another go, and Max Caster's open challenge will be there for the Saturday Slam Dunk Collision, or whatever they're calling that. So some good stuff there. I'm ready for Bowens to come back. That's what I'll say about Max Caster's open challenges. I'm ready for this is the best possible outcome, I feel like, for Max Caster presentation wise. Like, what he's doing is working. But like when they split, I wanted to see what Bowens could do. So I would like to see Anthony Bowens back on my TV.
And just utterly destroy him.
Yeah, I think that's the move. I think that's the move for sure. Renee has 4 belts Monet in the back. And she says that she's 16-0 and that Billy had a lot of heart, but it takes more than that to beat her. Who trained Billy? Whoever did, they know nothing about wrestling. And like that stupid kid learned, there's no stopping the Monet train. Certainly feels like we're leading toward Monet and Athena. Wow, we're almost at main event time already. Any thoughts on that Monet promo? Feels like the handwriting's on the wall.
Well, not really on the Monet one, because like you said, I just want it to be Athena versus Monet. And more on the Hangman one, though.
Yeah, sure.
Because you did talk about the Hangman one, right? I didn't make that up in my brain.
Yes, no, I did mention that in the same breath as the.
I was like, did I just make that up that you had a whole conversation there? Because that would have been crazy. They are going out of their way to make the Owen matter, and yes. I love it. Started last year when they decided that the winner of the Owen challenges for the title, and it's now with the talent they're putting in the Owen. It's making it like they're king of the ring, and I love that because I think a tournament that you're going to have the same tournament every year, and I think a tournament named after Owen Hart should mean a lot, and I think making it for the title and putting some of your most premier wrestlers on it is
For
a way
sure.
to say like, hey, this really matters.
Very important. I mean, former champions, right? Pretty much like MJF, Hangman, but there's some really key.
There's someone
key
else in it
players
too, isn't there, or no?
I feel like they declared someone else, but I can't remember.
Whatever.
I have a nerve-wracking feeling it's Darby's to win, and I don't love it, but it is what it is. We get Megan Bayne with Penelope Ford versus Chris Statlander, and this was super, super fun. We have Toni Storm at commentary for this. I love Toni Storm's like the Titantron, and also what they do to the LED boards now. They have like the old-fashioned bulbs, but like obviously it's LEDs, but it's very, very, very old Hollywood. I love that she's a face, and I love that she's so in control of who she is, even though she's still absolutely Delulu. Hi, Tim McFowle. We see you over there. And then what happened in the ring was something completely different. Like this was a lady meat match. These two beat the heck out of each other in a really, really, really fun one. This was 13 minutes long as well. Like some really, really good stuff. But this was some big gal battle right here. This was super, super fun. Toni on commentary is just unmatched. Her saying that you could get a Hollywood ending yourself for $45, but that was extra pleasure or whatever. Like she is unreal in this role. She's so damn good. But we get a heck of a match between these two. A lot of like visual intensity too, like a lot of facial reactions of them just beating the shit out of each other, which was great. And then post match, Toni Storm and her taped up hand go to the ring. There's some punches traded because we don't have enough pull apart brawls on WWE television, but this was good. This was good. The fans are literally chanting, "Let them fight" at this point. Toni Storm is over huge. Like they are getting the payoff they wanted out of this story with Mariah May. She is super, super over with everything she does. What did she also say? The bigger the woman, the harder they come. So she wants to have the biggest one out there. This is a really, really great way to reintroduce Megan Bayne into the fold. She's been winning. A win over Chris Statlander is huge. I'm going to need Chris and Willow to both get unstuck because they're two very, very important parts of the women's division that aren't doing a whole heck of a lot right now. But this was the right booking call. I just want them to also have other things lined up for Chris Statlander. I honestly wouldn't be that upset if Megan Bayne beat Toni Storm either here or another pay-per-view. Like if they just want to strap a rocket to Megan Bayne, Toni Storm doesn't need an extensive title right now. Like she just doesn't. So, but either way, I think giving her the title shot is the right call, just to immediately make her feel like a huge deal. We talked about this earlier, Ryan, like having intentionality for people that come into the company. They did that with Mariah May. It paid off dividends. They're doing that here with Megan Bayne. Looks like it's paying off dividends here too, because this match was great. Megan Bayne is quite over. What did you think of our ladies' main event?
So first on commentary, I don't know if this is true, but I'm going to choose to believe it because it sounds true. Someone on one of the socials put out that they were watching the non-commercial feed, and Toni Storm said, "I'm not afraid of anyone named Bayne. I get my back broken every night." Great Batman reference into a great reference. Like just she's amazing. So and then the putting on of the glove, like not the glove, the tape to go fight, like that was such a good step of like, but this was a powerhouse match, and I really liked it. Like the kicks, the hits, they looked harder. Each one of them got to show off how strong they were, which I really appreciated. That like it was, and I love Megan Bayne, and I want them to show off how good she is since she's going against Toni Storm. But I like that they didn't lopside it, so that made Statlander look weak. Both
you can do that with strong. Thunder Rosa. You don't want to do that with Chris Statlander, right? Like, I'm in agreement with you there.
So I just felt like listen, this is not a match she should have dominated. This is exactly a match that should have been close because Statlander is at all times a candidate to win the belt. Like if you threw her into the main event today, I'd say okay, that makes sense. So that adds. So like I really liked that this was back and forth, but just it was I guess like a Haas match, but the best kind where like both wrestlers actually can wrestle.
Yes.
So like it wasn't slow. It wasn't.
They weren't just big dumb idiots. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. It was like hard hitting move after hard hitting move into actual wrestling, back into hard hitting move. The whole thing was just a lot of fun. 2LT pointing out a great point. The dive out of the ring, like it was
really cool.
Consistently good moves. I'm with you on the Megan Bain thing. Like my biggest fear when they brought her in, not when they brought her in, but when they bring any new, especially women, but wrestlers, that they hot shot them to the title picture, they lose, and they go away forever. They've been a little bit better at it, except like you still have Deanna, kind of like where's Deanna? But
even she has something going on now. I don't know what it is, but she has something going on. Yeah.
Yeah, they need women's tag belts. It would solve that issue, but that's a whole different discussion. But I like that Megan's got like 3 different feuds going on, and even when she wins, it's not always clean, so they could come back to it. But I like that her story is, I don't think if she loses against Toni Storm that she disappears, I guess is what I'm saying. They've set her up to be a person in this division you have to watch out for.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, because I don't know if she beats Toni Storm because Toni Storm just won again. So like, I know she has one defense in there, but like, I wouldn't be against it. Sometimes it's fun to just hot shot something. Like when you don't do it all the time, it's a hot shot is fun. When you do it all the time, I hate it. But like a random one here or there, it's actually a lot of fun. So
Agreed.
if they want to say, hey, we're gonna have her lose at Bane. But if Bane loses, it's not the end. I don't think it's the end of the world for Mega Bane. I don't think this means she disappears and we never see her. I think she's in a feud with someone else big the next day. Like that's just where she is.
I agree. I don't think there's a wrong direction to go there. I would say this Toni Storm title reign is probably something closer to what Samoa Joe's one was, where it was like 3 months or so. Like you can have really effective short title reigns. So if it's not Megan Bain, maybe holding it to All In, maybe holding it to All Out is a good call. But I love how over Toni Storm is. Like they've told this story so well, and the fact that she is getting the applause that she's always wanted as a character and genuinely over as a wrestler is a really fun thing. It's very a story within itself, which is pretty stinking cute. So that was our episode of AEW Dynamite. We told you guys we were on the express train on this review, so we are moving a little quicker this time around, but we will tell you to leave a thumbs up if you didn't already. We'll ask you to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. That goes a long way in helping us. We'll also tell you we do have a t-shirt store on Pro Wrestling Tees. You can go over there. There's 4 designs. They look like the background of this. We sometimes pull it up, but that's Joe's job, and he's not here. But feel free to head over to ProWrestlingTees.com.
This is streamlined tonight. This is streamlined.
It is streamlined. We'll also just, I'm sure Pro Wrestling Tees is going to be like Easter Mayhem sale, whatever. So just add us to your cart. To beat those shipping charges. But that is going to be all for us tonight. Ryan, where can the people find you?
Well, I run our socials, so at MarkOrderPod on all socials, or you can read my history blog, hereforhistory.com, @_hereforhistory, or @hereforhistory, depending on what social you're on. I plan on having a new one out this week. It'll probably be next week, maybe-ish. I wanted to change some things, so nothing big. I have it done. I just wanted to change some stuff. So there you go. What about you, Kate?
You can find me at Miss Kate Fabe on social media. You can also catch me at Fightful Mondays at Fightful Select doing your Sour Grabs Raw review. This is very weird with them being in Europe, so all the times are different. But Tuesdays doing your NXT review. Wednesdays here at the Mark Order whenever I can be. Thursdays I have off now. No more ROH review for me, but Fridays, SmackDown review. This week, I think we're going to do 8 o'clock. We're going to see how that goes while everybody's in Europe. So feel free to join me there. And, of course, pay-per-views and PLEs behind the paywall on FightfulSelect.com with Alex Pulaski as well. Thank you so much for watching us. We hope that Joe had fun going there live. We hope he's back safe in this crazy weather that they got. But he'll be back next week probably. But we always have a weird combination, rocking and rolling now. So we do the best we can for all you wonderful people. Thanks for zipping through Dynamite with us tonight. We'll be back to our regular format and regular crew next week. We'll see you then.
So I put the outro overlay on, and then I get your outro.
This concludes the Mark Order Podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.